I think it is important to bring in spirituality because we sometimes have to try to collect a series of belief systems and values to guide our day-to-day life. When we don't have values or belief systems, we tend to become indecisive. We sometimes do things in a sort of arbitrary way, and we're not focused. We lose concentration. And so if you have spiritual awareness, you would then have a guideline to make decisions from. You would have a sense of right and wrong. You would know what your society considers to be appropriate. And at the same time, it could keep you going when you might feel low in energy. Intellectual interest. I think that is also another source of energy. When people don't have interest or can't identify what is important to them, they tend to become confused and uncomfortable with themselves. Somehow I believe that the human energy, or I should say the human being, needs something to become interested in. Now, let me define what I think interest is. Interest is an intellectual response to a biochemical or environmental stimuli. I think this happened with Anna. Anna saw cats, she saw dogs, and somehow she connected with them. She became interested. And that intellectual stimuli motivated her intellectually that she must do whatever she can intellectually to be prepared to be able to work with these animals and to care for them. In fact, from 1980 to 1987, Fortune 500 companies eliminated 3.1 million jobs. The question is why? Why are these organizations laying people off, downsizing, making structural adjustments? As a research analyst, my evaluation is that these organizations are convinced that they are not performing, they're not producing as they would like to. And indeed, they are getting serious competition from the international community. Markets are shrinking on them. And they are making some kind of correlation to the shrinking markets, the low performance, with human performance. Now, the question we have to ask is, will a smaller workforce necessarily make an organization more effective? And then finally, most reluctantly, he said 3 times, I wrote the bar exam 3 times before I became a lawyer. And the remaining questions had him very uncomfortable, visibly uncomfortable. Then, of course, he was finished with, and he left the hearing room. And the witnesses who followed him, 2 of them, were dressed professionally. They were extremely articulate, perhaps articulate as the lawyer should have been. But nonetheless, their answers were targeted, focused. From time to time, they referred to their notes, but with efficiency. No expressions on their faces, I should say. They were appearing to be in control of the situation. Now, I want to stop here, and I'm going to give you a little
questionnaire, and if you can tell me, please, which one of these witnesses is credible. Let me see if I can get some to these other tables. For each person, environment, genetics, sometimes education, physiology. There are a number of factors that influence how a person sits, how the person moves, whether the person is maintaining eye contact or not. And that, as an adjudicator, it would be a mistake to put too much value on these gestures. That is my premise. And instead, you might want to pay attention to the thought patterns, what is said, the words that are spoken, what is written. Because, of course, you can refer to that, you can file it, you can study it, it is there. Why am I saying this? I'm saying that there are a number of social factors, for one, that affects how we behave in society.